Hey there, it's Chris from the Old Man Cycling Show with my first race video of the 2023 season. I've done a race before this, but this is the first video that I'm actually reviewing and posting online. I might go back eventually and do the first race I did, which was Lower Providence. So this is a Kitchen Road uh, criterium. It's the easiest way for me to say it. It's right outside of Trexlertown, PA, at this Bob Rodell bike and fitness park. You can see this is a pathway that there's no vehicles on. It's dedicated to walking, riding, etc. It's about one car lane wide. This race is the Masters 55 plus race. It's a 55-minute race. We're on the first lap here. And for those that aren't familiar with it, the way a timed race works is the officials will take the average speed of your first 3 or 4 laps. They'll use that as your average lap time. They subtract that time already elapsed from the 55 minutes, divide the rest of the time by your average lap time, and come up with a lap count. So you'll notice that right now we're on the back stretch. We're sort of at the top of this little climb and then coming down the back stretch, which is a downhill part with some twists and turns. You can see the narrowness of the course. The whole group will move from the right to the left, to the right to the left, and this section in particular on the back side where you're going downhill, very difficult to pass. You might be able to get 1 or 2 riders, but it's difficult to make a significant move up. As you'll see, people just move out, cut you off, not on purpose, but things shift that way. So it's a interesting course. It's a challenging course because, like I said, you can't make up a lot of space on this section, which is the fastest section. Now we're coming into a sweeping left-hand turn that gives you the bottom of the course with a little straightaway. You can make up some space here if you're quick about it on the right or left side, and you'll see that as we go on, you'll see people jump real quick. And then we're going to make another sweeping left turn, which is the fastest part of the course. This is the turn at the very bottom of the course that's coming back into the home straight. So you'll see right here, we're coming through this left-hand turn. And this is by far the fastest section of the course. You carry the most speed through here. And just naturally, because that speed coming through that corner, you're going to drift out to the right. So again, you got to pick your spots where to make up spaces. And when you want to, you've got to really go for it. So another thing about this race, as you can see, it is a tight course. I think were 67 people registered. I think 64 started. So it's crowded. It's a crowded race. So at this moment in time, I'm taking a new tactic. I decided that I wasn't going to go and try to be right at the front, right at the beginning. I'm sort of sitting back right now. I'd say I'm back a little bit further than I want to be, but still I'm saving some energy, sort of seeing how things go. Being that it's a 55-minute race, most of the Masters races are anywhere from a half hour to 45 minutes. So I'd say this is just slightly longer. Not that 10 minutes is going to make or break you, but in an event like this, I think a lot of the people are going to be waiting to see what the lap count is, so they know I've got this much to go. So each lap here is right around a mile, maybe give or take a little bit. But again, you can see I'm starting to go backwards as opposed to forward, not on purpose. I just, I'm not an overly aggressive rider. So if I'm like the person that you see directly in front of the camera with the black and blue shorts on, you'll see like I'm not right on his wheel because I think the guy just came in from the left, but I thought the guy from the right was going to come in. So, that's one thing I continue to work on. And you'll see in this race, as we get towards the end, I do try to get on a wheel and stay on that wheel because it's the wheel I wanted to follow, but more on that later. This is one area that I continue to work on. So, every time I watch one of these races, watch one of these recordings, I get a lot out of it. I get to see things I do right, things I can get better at, things that, just need to be a little bit more assertive. So in this race, I was glad that I didn't jump the guy. So there's an example of a guy on the right side on this bottom of the course just jumped up, and you have to be quick. You have to jump around a bunch of people and find your way back in before the next corner. But that guy, he just moved up a bunch of places. Like I said, I'm still sitting towards the back, but talking about my analysis of these races, I enjoy watching them. I get to see areas of improvement. I get to see where I did improve. So it's I like sharing this with people, but I also get a lot out of it myself. So any suggestions, any questions you have about racing, feel free to leave it in the comments. Feel free to ask. I'll respond. I respond to all the questions that get asked of me. Um, you know, I just do this mainly as a hobby type thing, just because I like to do it. I like to watch the races and go back and try to figure out, okay, next time what do I do different? So like I said, this is my second race of the season. I hurt my knee getting ready. I'm doing a big gravel race this summer, so I hurt my knee the other night. So I didn't really train a lot in the past maybe week and a half, but I actually felt pretty good. My legs. I had a really good off season. Did a lot of training in the off season, so I feel strong that way. But when you lose even just a week, you lose some of that wind. So now you can see we're coming up. We're coming up with what's going to be the only slight rise. Right, we come around this corner here or this bend. It goes uphill. Nothing major. Like you see, some people will get out of their saddle to maintain their speed. I just tend to increase my cadence to keep where I'm going. But more about this race. So the usual teams are there with some additions. So Bigfoot Endurance, not the orange jersey you see there on the right. That's Guy's Cycles. But there's a orange and blue kit. Bigfoot Endurance, you might remember last year they were in some of my videos. So, I know a lot of those guys. I see them every Thursday night at a practice race we do. Guys like Joe, they got a new addition this year, a person named Tim. He's a real strong rider. And they have Matt, he's still around. Unfortunately, shout outs to my buddy Terry. He's recovering from an illness, but, get well soon, Terry. Bigfoot's well represented here, as well as the Active Yards Trek team. They always show up with a big contingent. Guys like Jeff and John and Rich and those guys. I see a lot of them on Thursday nights as well. So, it's a lot of people that I know, as well as some people that I don't. Now, one of the other people that's in a similar situation as me, which if you don't know, I am on the Westchester Development Cycling team, but I am the only Masters racer. So, when I come to these Masters races, I'm pretty much, I am there by myself. So I sort of like that. It gives me a little bit of chance of freewheeling, going where I want to go. I don't have a real set strategy. I'll just make another comment here. I'm pretty far back, a lot further than I want to be. If there's 64 people in this race, I might be in the top 50s, somewhere that way. But that's okay. I'll make up some space soon. But as I was saying, so there's another guy that you'll see a couple times in the video, a guy, Ron, that, again, I see Ron Thursday nights. Ron is a fabulous photographer. If you ever go and you're on Facebook and you look for the Great Valley 30, I think it's called, or GV30 might be the name of the Facebook group. There's a criterium in Great Valley Corporate Center, which is in Pennsylvania, right in the Malvern area, every Thursday night. And Ron rides it, but he also does amazing photography. So, check out that Facebook page. But Ron's similar to me. He's on a team, but he might be the only member on that team, actually. But he's definitely the only Masters rider on that team. So, I had a chat with Ron before this race and just sort of, if I can help you anyway, I will, let me know. And he said similar, So that's good to know. And you make friends with people on other teams. So, as long as you're trying, they're not gonna shut you out. You pull your weight and, you can get in where you need to go as far as breaks or as far as getting into groups or whatever. But still, I'm just hanging out. Right now we're coming down into the bottom turn. I call this the bottom turn because we just came down a little twisty side and make the sweeping left and another sweeping left, and we're back into home straight. And I think right now we're probably about let's see, based on time, I'm going to say we're probably 3 or 4 miles into the race. So we're probably finishing up the fourth lap right around now. So look closely on the left side. They might have the lap count up now. I forget when they put it up. If it's not up after this lap, which is the fourth lap, it'll be up after the next lap. And you see here, like, because I'm so far back, it's very surgy. So you'll come around the turn and somebody will slow down towards the front. Well, that has an accordion effect coming to the back. Let's see. Yeah, they have a lap count up. I didn't see what it said. It might have said 17, but I'm not sure. but it surges, and so now I'm starting to be like, okay, I got to start thinking about moving up. Where am I gonna be able to make space? I'm not panicked to any extent because there's still a long way to go. As I said, we've been racing roughly 10 minutes and we have 45 more to go, so still plenty of time. By the way, if you look to the far right in the red and black kit, that's Ron. Real strong rider. Ron rides very, very consistent. He's a really good wheel to follow. Really quick too. He can get into spaces, and you'll see later on spaces that I wasn't gonna follow just because he has a little bit more aggressiveness. I mean, it's something I'm working on, but not worried about it. But anyway, like I said, I'm a little bit further back than I want to be. I can still see the front of the group there, but I couldn't react right now. If something started to happen, I'm too far back to really be able to do anything about it, which is not necessarily what I want to be, especially now that they have the lap count up. I want to start moving up. So slowly but surely, I think starting when we get to the bottom here, and like I said, this section of the course is really hard to move up on because the whole group shifts from the left to the right to the left to the right. And I think there were 2 or 3 times I personally was off the trail onto the grass because everybody moved over. And it's just one of those things where it happens, but you got to be ready for it because there is a little bit of a lip there as well as getting back up. So here you can see I jumped a few places. Like I said, you can't make major jumps back here, but I get up a few places, and now I'm looking for a wheel to follow to go up to the front. It's a lot easier if somebody in front of you is cutting a pathway through, you jump in the wheel. So this guy that I'm in front with the blue and the black and the green, I was trying to sort of sit on his wheel to see how he was going to go up the side here and hoping he was going to start pushing, which would allow me then to push up the side. You see, I'm real close to the guy that I just passed. This guy's doing a nice job of moving up, more towards the front. So I'm going to follow him. And now he just made another big acceleration. And I didn't feel like I could necessarily get through there before this turn started. So I got up as far as I wanted, but I didn't want to cut this guy that's in the leg warmers with the orange jersey. I didn't want to cut him off and cause any potential issues there. So I backed off a little bit. Still trying to figure out, I still want to move up more, but I'm closer to the front than I was. You can see the lead guy just at the top of the curve there. At this point, a break has not gone that I was aware of yet. I don't want to spoil anything, but there will be a break that goes. But at this point, we're still riding as a big group. We're strung out. Up on the left side there, if you can see those orange jerseys, those are the Bigfoot guys. They were well represented in this race. They have a strong team. And now I'm moving up. So now you can see, I got on this guy's wheel. And now I went from the front of the group from the back of the group to close to the front of the group, and not necessarily something I wanted to do. So now I'm trying to remember, was this guy chasing down a break? And it looks like there is a cyclist up there. Yeah, so I'm going to say at this point a break did go, and I decided that this guy looked like he was going to jump on it, so I jumped on it with him, and this is one of the parts I was happy with. I was happy with my dedication to go after this move that's up the road. So you can see I came past this guy. The brake's still up there. You can see him just up in the distance. Normally I'd look at something like that, know they're moving pretty good, and be like, oh man, I don't know if I'm going to get them. I'm sort of stuck in no man's land. Do I press on and go for it, or do I sort of drift back to the main group? I did look behind me at this point, and as far as I could see, there was nobody on my wheel. That one guy was there, but besides the two of us, there was nobody really there. So I think we go through here. I think that said 17 laps. I'm not positive, but I think it said 17 there. So it might have been 18 laps per race. So I was happy at this point because you can see, I'm putting out a good amount of watts. Oh, by the way, the counters on the screen. The top left is my current power. The one below it's a distance covered. The one below that is my current RPMs, my heart rate, current speed, and then the bottom one in the second column is my 30-second power. So you can see, like, I'm pushing a good amount of watts for me. Now I won't tell you what my FTP is, but I'll tell you that right now I'm above it. My heart rate, my max heart rate is about 180. Staying at 172. So I'm giving it a good go. And again, I was really, really happy with myself for not giving up here. I mean, I chased these guys. This is where I took off with that other guy, was right on this section. So, I've chased him for a whole lap so far, part of it with that other guy, but I'm still going. I'm still going to keep after this and get back up to these guys. So now we're coming down a little twisty part. And this is where you're just like, oh man, I've only got, I don't know, 30, 40 meters, if that, to catch this group, but they're honking. I'm doing some solid power, doing 28 miles an hour, and now I'm getting in there. So now I'm like, okay, I got this group. I get in the wheel. I need to catch my breath, right? So this is the point where, okay, I want to sit there, and they jump again. As soon as I get on, they jump again. So now I'm back to, okay, I gotta go to get back to that wheel. And I think I did a good job responding. So all good. Like I said, I was happy with this. I managed to stay in there and persevere. So I'm giving myself a thumbs up on that one. So this group has a good representation. There's right in front of the guy in front of me right now is one of the Bigfoot riders. I believe there's a active yards rider in here. I believe Ron's in here. You'll see him around on right there on the right side in the middle. So this group has a good makeup in it. It has the right teams in it, so you won't have the biggest teams like Active Yards or Bigfoot necessarily chasing us down. They'll be watching at the front to see if it comes back, but this is a good move to be in. So now I'm just sort of trying to figure out, okay, how do I stay here? How do I stay in this move and keep things going, do my contributions? I'm still trying to recuperate a little bit. My heart rate is back down under 160, which is good, but this is game on. The race is going at this point with this group. So you can see two guys just jumped off the front. I'm quick to jump back onto these guys. These are the two big teams. The two big teams right here are represented, right? So you got Bigfoot at the front and Active Yards just pulling through. So this is a good break to be in. So you can see that little flick. For those that don't know, when that elbow flicks like that, that's basically the guy at the front's telling you, hey, your turn, come through. So I come through, and this is where I still need a little bit of practice, right? So I came through, and I flicked my elbow, nobody came through. Flicked it again, nobody came through. And now this was, I think that's either Matt or that's Tim from Bigfoot. People, I won't say they'll take advantage of you, but if you stay on the front and you don't move and they're still on your slipstream and you're still going fast enough, they're not going to come around you. So, I got to get better at, getting off the front, being shorter pulls on the front, especially at speed like this. Like this was trying to see, yeah, that's Tim from Bigfoot right there that just went by. This is a full race pace right now. So if you look at my 30-second power, which is the bottom one in the second column, I mean, I'm not really letting off a whole lot. So we come around. So I've been with these guys, chased for almost 2 laps. Been with these guys for a lap now. We're still moving, and we've got a good break. The only problem is we've still got at least, I think, 15 laps to go, so there's still a long road ahead. And I think some people in the group are starting to get itchy at this point. You can see right here, I was up there and I lost contact. I wasn't on top of my game at this point. This is something I got to pay attention to. Once you have this little gap open up like this, you're not getting back on, and you'll see this becomes very evident. Like I'm busting in here to try to get back up there on a slight rise. There goes Ron. I'm trying to jump up on Ron. I think Ron even said, "Come on," when he went by me, and I just didn't have it. I was gassed. So that's one of the things. So now you're going to see I'm going to start to fade back, and these guys are going on without me. But again, it was a good lesson for me. I stuck with it, but I just made a mistake there. I let a gap open up, and like I said, once you get that gap, it's not coming back. So now I am in no man's land. So now I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the next group to come with me. So there's guys away. There was probably 7 of them. There's guys away, and it's funny especially in a situation like this, you can hear the riders coming up behind you. There's no road noise. There's no traffic. There's no anything. So you can hear the sound, and it's a pretty distinct sound. Bike tires on pavement or on asphalt. You know when it's coming. And you can sort of feel it. So pretty soon you're going to see a couple guys come up beside me, and I'll jump in with them. I think it's on this straightaway. Here we go. Okay, so here you have an active yards guy, another team, another active yards guy. There's my buddy Joe from Bigfoot, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna jump on Joe's wheel. So Joe's not gonna chase though. Joe's riding really smart right here. He's not gonna chase that break. He's working with these guys to cover them in case they get back up to the break. But Joe's not gonna help shut it down because he's got his guy up in the break. So I figure, okay, I'll ride with Joe. If something happens, I'm in another good group here to chase down. So you can start to see, the break's coming back a little bit. There's still 2 guys up the road, but the rest of the guys are within reach of the guys just ahead of me. So it's all coming back. So it was a good break. It stuck out there, but it wasn't the right mix of people. So I think everything comes back together. There's still one. Looks like there's one guy. There's Ron going back. Looks like there's still one guy off the front, another Bigfoot guy. And there goes another guy chasing them down. So they're trying to reignite the brake. And this happens a lot. This is going to happen. We still got a couple laps left. There's going to be this constant now attack, come back, attack, come back. So I just rode up to Joe. I was sort of sitting, he was right beside me. I'm like, what do you want to do? Do you want to chase? Because I wasn't going to chase on my own. I knew Joe wasn't going to go because his teammate was up there. So now there's 3 guys off the front. That guy in the red just took off again. So I'm still sort of just sitting in, waiting. Joe's right on my right. So, I look like I'm out in front, but, Joe's right there as well. And now some moves are happening again. So now we have an active yards guy going up to the front and this other guy. So, as long as active yards and Bigfoot were in it, they were the 2 main teams in this race. That break's going to probably go. Another active yards guy going up the road. So at this point, again, I'm watching and I'm like, okay, if I can get in this, if I have the energy and the stamina, now's a good time to go with these guys. Don't let them drop me. So I'm just trying to hang in here and coming around into the finishing straight. Sorry, I was talking too much. I had to take a sip of my root beer. But they're starting to, you can see that group's starting to pull off. There goes another Bigfoot guy. That's Joe. Sort of just keep on watching everything. So this is a good place to be. I think that's at 13 on the lap counter, which might have said 12. It was 12 or 13. Can't remember. But, now everybody's back together. So the one Bigfoot guy that was out front, everybody's back. Everybody is waiting for the next move to go. So now we're just coming around this little twisty part for the one slight uphill. And it's funny, I call it an uphill, but it's really not. I can't even guess what the elevation change is. It's minimal. So again, I'm happy. At this point, I'm happy. I'm happy with my position. I want to be up near the front to see, what's going to happen, what's going to take off. But here's typical me. I don't necessarily want to be at the front. Like I want to be near the front, but don't necessarily be at the front. And guess where I am? I'm at the front. Oh well, another lesson learned. But now here's where I was talking before. I need to get off the front and let somebody else come through. So there it worked. Somebody pulled through, and there was a gap behind him. So I was just going to keep pressing on, because when that happens is if you get a guy that's working with you good, and a gap opens up, it's worth going and fill that gap in, because you're going to get in the guy's slipstream and keep pressing on. So at this point, I am not sure, because I lost track. When it's in real time and you're huffing and puffing, you sort of get tunnel vision. At this point, I don't think there's anybody else up the road. We'll see. I'll know better when we go by the lap counter if I can actually see it. Okay, so now we're at 12 to go. Right, so at this point, I don't think anybody's up the road. Now, again, I'm unhappy with myself for being in the front here going through this section of the course, because we're starting to get in, that was the other thing. It was windy. You can't really see in the trees, but this course, especially on the whole backside, is very, very exposed in the wind. It was a cross swirling wind. So, there goes the brake. Yeah, so now you see that the 3 guys and 2 guys are chasing. Again, those 3 guys, you got the 2 big teams represented. Now here you got a whole bunch of active yards guys, and 2 Bigfoot guys, but you see the active yards guys, and they're sort of just setting the pace. They're not going to chase down their teammate because he's up there, but they're going to sort of control/patrol the front of this group and make sure that nobody's getting away that they don't want to get away. There goes Ron again. Hi Ron, hope you got some good GoPro footage. And now it's back to race on. So there's a couple guys that made a jump, and now people are trying to respond. So I'm hoping that I can stay up with this group, hoping that I don't get boxed in or blocked out. Because again, we're at the part of the course that can be a little bit difficult to pass on. Now you can see Ron just took off on the right side there. He was able to get around a bunch of people, and that is the one good thing. If you get around a bunch of people, then you got clear sailing. Then you're pretty much left to what you can do. Now the guy that just came by me on the inside, this next turn, this left-hand turn that goes into the finishing straight, this is where I am right now, is not a good place to be. The momentum pushes you out to the right. There's a lot of people coming from the right, as well as when you get to the end of this finishing stretch, being on the inside, it's just about impossible to pass people without ending up on the grass. So we got 11 laps to go now. And again, I'm back a little bit further than I wanted to. The pace is definitely picked up. We're going good, but I'm still well within my limits. My heart rate's good. My 30-second power, it's not a problem. It's just I don't have anywhere to go. I can't really go anywhere. I can't move. I'm on the inside. I don't like being on the inside of this course. It's just for me, it was not comfortable. Like you'll see, I'm getting close to this grass edge, and there's my first time on the grass, because that guy right there just right in front of me, not his fault, but he moved over. He had half a bike length on me. He came over. I had nothing to do but to slow down or go on the grass, because otherwise I'm getting wiped out. And that's just one of the things that happens when you're on a narrow course like this. So now I'm just sort of sitting back, trying to figure out, okay, where do I or can I make a move? Because you can see, you'll get a glimpse every once in a while. There's a good group up the road, right around there. You could just see, there's 5 or 6 guys, 2 chasing them. So this is a good point in the race for a break to stick. And again, the inside on this was not my favorite place to be. I felt boxed in. I felt like I couldn't move anywhere. If I wanted to move somewhere, somebody was coming from the right to the left to sort of block me out. And again, it's not on purpose. It's just the way the road moves you, or the course moves you. And like I said, I definitely did not like passing inside on this turn. And this is the fastest part of the course. You're coming into the finishing straight. Your momentum's going to carry you outside anyway. So if you're all the way inside, there's some risk there. And now this is another one of those situations where you can see everything just accordions closed. Like the front is collapsing, the back's coming into them. Everything just sort of slows down here to the point where actually, people are yelling slowing, which is unusual in a race. Usually, people are going, but I don't know if it was the people at the front were trying to, sort of calm things down and stop people from chasing off and try to establish the break more, or what was going on. But that happens sometimes. You'll have, for instance, Active Yards had a big team. They might have had 10 people here or more. If they get to the front of this and they decide they've got the people they want in a break, they're not going to stop. They're not going to slow down, but they could false pedal a little bit. They could, back off the pace a little to let that gap open up, and, you're not going to get around them because they've got a good blockade going. Not saying it happened, but that's just speculation because I couldn't see who was at the front. I see some Bigfoot jerseys. I see some Active Yards jerseys. So, still trying to find my way through, unsuccessfly. You just see the guy 2 bikes ahead of me was on the grass. This guy, that Active Yards guy, that to me that was not a nice move. I think he came over when he shouldn't have. I had the position, but again, I'm not assertive enough, so I just decided to go around him. That was a little bit of a payback right there. And I mean that in a laughing way. I'm never out looking to get somebody, but he came around me, made me slow up, and I didn't like the way he was moving, so I didn't want to be on his wheel because I didn't know what was going to happen. So I figured, okay, I'm going back around. So now I'm in a better position. Still not exactly where I want to be, but I'm in a good position. I'm in the heart of what I'll call the chasing group. There is still a break up the road. There's a couple guys off the front of this group trying to get onto that second group on the road. But at some point, it's going to be pretty clear that the lead group, the breakaway, they're going to stick. So we're coming back into the finishing straight here. Let's see how many laps we got left here. Got 9 laps to go. Yeah, so this is just going to continue for a while. I'm pretty sure at this point that the brake is gone. Not the split up, but the brake is gone for good. And this group, and you can just see up off the front, this group and that group are sort of here to stay. And again, for those guys that have people, for the teams that have people up in the lead break, they're not going to chase hard. They're going to leave that up to everybody else. If you want to go get up there, you got to go get up there. You can see Joe just up on the front, sort of just shepherding the way through. His teammates right there, number 423. Again, a bunch of Active Yards guys. And the people at the top of the screen now, they're the second group on the road. You can see there's some guys up ahead of them. And so, all right, so now everybody's back together except for the lead group. You just see him go around that corner before we switch direction a little bit. And you get people like that. You saw one person just, taking a flyer, trying to get back up to that group. But at this point, for me, certainly, like, I still felt good. I felt like, I still had some power to go. But now you can see, like, it's just the road's clogged. It's like a traffic jam. There's nowhere to go. So you're just sort of biding your time, waiting to see if and where there's going to be a place for you to make a move. Follow that move. So I'm trying to get up on this guy in a red jersey. There's a guy right on my right side there. Got around him. I want to get up on this guy and try to slide in behind him, but there was a guy there. So now this is where you sort of have to be gracefully rude. You got to sort of just nudge your way in there and get in a slipstream, because I'm still not getting the benefits of his draft. He's more off to my side, and he actually does me a favor and comes over towards me a little bit. But I think you'll see right here. Let's see. I think, I'm on the grass. And now I'm off the grass. So thank goodness for all my gravel riding skills. Wouldn't necessarily want to do it on my race bike though. So that there's one point here where if you look to the left, I don't know if it was this lap, I'm trying to see where we are. If you look to the left, you'll see the lead group coming around. It wasn't this lap. It's coming up soon. So I always watch the video one time before I start giving my commentary on it, just so I can try to keep in my head, what's going on. But like everything else, I'm not taking notes while I'm giving this commentary. I'm just sort of doing it as I'm watching the video real time. But this is probably the third time I've watched it, so I think I remember most things. But every time you watch it again, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot that part. But anyway, and I do turn I do mute the video, so you're not getting the road wind noise. I find that sometimes if like I stop talking, it's totally quiet, but at the same point in time, I don't know, I personally find that wind road noise irritating. Some people like the white noise. I don't. So that's that. So anyway, we're back in a big group. So again, anytime I see a guy like that try to jump, I look to see if there's a window for me to get on his wheel. I wasn't able to get on his wheel, but I was able to get on this guy's wheel and move up a little bit. I was able to come around him because I did want to be closer to the front of this group. And I think this might actually be the lap where, as we come behind a start finish, look over to your left, and you should be able to see the break that's gone, coming down the other side of the road. Yes, we have 7 laps left. So about 7 miles left in the race. And then I just wanted to stay near the front, not necessarily on the front, because I knew there's a lead group. You can see them up the road at the top of the screen. I knew I wasn't getting back to the lead group. But I wanted to stay in this group. I wanted to have a strong finish. Didn't necessarily want to be at the front, but at the same point in time, I didn't want to drift back too far. So again, you can see, my heart rate's up a little bit. My 30-second power, I put in a good effort there, but yeah, I'm sort of done. I don't want to be at the front anymore. So I'm waiting for somebody to come around. But again, this is the part of the course where it's difficult to come around. It's twisty. We move from side to side, and once you get up here, now it's not a bad time to be in the front, because you get to choose your own trail down this windy part. You get to take your line and what you're comfortable doing. So, I got to this point and I'm like, okay, well, we're going slightly down. Don't have to put in that much power. I'll choose a line, and then we get down to this first left-hand sweeper. Hopefully somebody else will come around, and I'll jump back on there. So that was the first sweeper. So now I'm just waiting for somebody to come around and get on somebody's wheel. And here they come. Good for me. So when people start coming by me like this, what I'll do is I'll start, just quickly glancing over either shoulder to see if there's a space. So like I saw there was a space behind this guy that I'm currently behind. So, I just slide in there to get in a slipstream. So we have 6 laps to go. So when he jumps, my choice is to try to accelerate a little bit to get on the guy that he was behind's wheel, or to drift back and let this gap open up. At this point in the race, I don't necessarily want to let gaps open up, but I don't necessarily want to go back to the front and put a lot more work in. Here comes Ron. So believe it or not, I actually had a strategy coming down to the last part of this race. My strategy was, with about 2 laps to go, or thereabouts, I wanted to get on Ron's wheel. Ron's a really, really good finisher. He picks good lines. He gets in a good position. This is a little bit early for me to be on his wheel, because I know, the way I hold wheels, I won't be able to stay on his wheel till the last lap. But at the same point in time, it's good to know he's there, because that's where I want to be. So I'm not sure at this point. There might be 7 guys off the front. They're there for good. They're going to stick. So now we're racing for who wins coming out of the pack. So, oh, sorry, I'm haven't talked about. I'm just watching what's going on. People are starting to move up again. And again, it was too early for me to really start thinking about, quote, finishing, how I was going to finish. I know what I want to do. I know Ron's still up there ahead of me. I know there's some other wheels, like for instance, I like following Joe's wheel, Matt's in this race. That's another good wheel to get on. Some of the active yards guys, they're good to get behind. They got a lot of really good riders. So, it's really what's it, 5 laps to go. Yeah. So I'm still just riding. I'm not thinking about holding the wheel right now. It's still way too early for that. I just want to make sure I stay close to the front of this bunch. I don't want to drop too far back and have to do all that work again to get up close to the front of it. So, right now I'd say I'm happy with my position. So just going to keep pedaling for a few more laps and then try to line up the finish. And I would skip ahead because you're just going to see a few more laps of the same thing. I'd skip ahead, but now that I've started recording, I'm not that good with my editing system yet, so I'm just going to let you see the whole race. So hopefully you don't mind. You can always comment and say, hey, old man, you're talking too long, your race is too long, just show me the highlights. And maybe I'll do that. Maybe one of these videos, it'll just be a highlights thing, lessons learned type stuff, as opposed to the whole race. But look at it this way. You could be stuck at home watching the stage of the Giro, or you could watch this. What's more exciting? I know what my vote is, but anyway, that's just me. So now I've drifted back a little bit more than I wanted to, which tends to happen when I'm not, if I'm not paying attention to stay at the front, I sometimes get a little lackadaisical. A lot of that has to do with, though, I know if I get the chance, I can accelerate pretty hard and make up gaps in a good amount of time or a short amount of time. But again, I wanted to be closer to this. I think we're finishing up. This time around, we'll have 4 laps to go. And this is where I'm starting to think, okay, now's when I need to get in a better position. Like I said, with 2 laps to go, I want to be where I want to be for the finish. Hold on for that, second to last lap, and then on the last lap, I want to be set. So I still got a little time to do that. My power, again, my heart rate's good and recovered. I haven't been doing a lot of work. My power is not bad, Yeah, we have 4 laps to go. So this is all, I would never say riding at 25 miles an hour is easy, but this is probably the easiest 25 miles an hour you'll ever do. You really notice the effect of the draft. It's just the course that everybody's moving, and you don't really, you sort of get into a different zone. You're pedaling, but you're really just focused on the wheel in front of you and those to the side of you to make sure that, you want to ride consistent. You want to stay in your lane. You don't want to make any sudden moves. Like, you don't want to grab your brakes. Every once in a while, you might have to scrub a little speed, which is, that's just it, right? You don't want to crash into the person in front of you, but, no sudden aggressive moves. Like, you don't want to come to a complete stop. You don't want to deviate from your line, those sort of things. And that's a nice thing about the Masters class. There are no novices in Masters class. It's all Cat 1 through Cat 4. And they did give a breakdown. I forget what it was. The majority of riders in this race were Cat 3s. So there were a couple Cat 1s, a couple Cat 2s. Majority were Cat 3s, and the rest were Cat 4s. So the other thing that happens, so like when I'm riding, like I'll take notice of the guy I'm riding behind and how they're reacting and how they're going. And this is one of those instances where I didn't like the guy I was behind, but I'm sort of locked in. Like, I don't have anywhere to go. There's a guy to my right. There's no room on the left, so I'm sort of stuck here until I can find a way out of it. So now my head's on a swivel trying to figure out, okay, where do I go? And I see a hole here in the middle, so I can move up in the middle, but then I'm sort of stuck in the middle, right? But at least, I can make some moves. So now I'm trying to figure out, okay, can I shoot this hole? And the answer is no. Not yet, anyway. And this is where you wish you could just say to the guy, hey, can you just move over a little bit to your right so I can get through here, please? Or move over to your left, or do something. But, it is what it is. It's not like Strava where you have turn signals on your bike. All right, so we got 3 laps to go. So now I'm thinking, okay, where do you want to be? Where do you want to position yourself? Like I said, I preferred the outside on this course, which is where I'm headed to now. Don't remember if I stay here or not, but this is the side of the course I want to be on. I just felt there was more room for movement on this side of the course. So, I'm probably, if I'm looking at this, I'm probably sitting in about, forget the 7 guys off the front, but in this pack, I'm probably in the 40s, maybe 50th place of this pack. So not ideal, but not horrible. The pack's still pretty dense. So there's room to adjust that number. So this was one good place. If you had an opportunity, this was a good place to attack this little rise. Like I said, it wasn't much, but it was just enough to throw some people off. See, I switched back to the other side of the road, trying to look for some spots to move. Do a quick jump around that guy. Now I have a little bit more daylight. So making some slow but steady progress up closer to the front of this group. Not leaps and bounds, but pick them off a couple at a time. You know, this was a good one. I was able to shoot through this gap and get up here. I just picked off 10 places right there, so that was good. So now what I'm thinking is, okay, we're going to come into 2 laps to go. I need to position myself for row A and B, so I want to work back to the outside. I actually had that thought during the race. Like, I want to go, Joe was out there on the right side. That's where I want to be. I want to be on that side of this lap with 2 to go. So now how do I work out that way? So there's 2 to go. I'm all the way on the inside, which is exactly the opposite of where I want to be. But hey, no problem. We'll figure out a way. Coming into these couple of bends before we have the slight little rise. Looking around to see who's where and where I can go. And now I see where I want to be. So number 450 again. Ron, I'm mentioning your name a lot just because you got the volunteer to be the wheel I want to follow. So this is a slight rise. And now I'm really focused on staying on this wheel. This is where I want to be. Just up on the right is Joe. That's another really good wheel to follow. But like I said, Ron's really good at picking routes through here. Now I should have stayed closer. That was a mistake. There was no reason for me to back off from that active yards guy. I wasn't going to go in the grass and he wasn't going to bump me out. So I managed to work my way around him. So like I said, for those of you that remember the show The A-Team, I love it when a plan comes together. So we're coming around the sweeping left that goes into the home finish for the bell lap, and I'm happy with where I am. Don't know what happened there. Somebody made a pretty unpredictable move, slid across, sort of had people sit up and take notice, but all's well. Nobody went down. No crashes in this race, by the way, which is always a good thing. All right, so we're on the bell lap. And this is fun for me to watch. Don't really have a whole lot to say other than, I'm positioned well. I'm where I want to be. I'm moving up. I'm doing well. I know Ron has a really strong finish. I see Joe up there on the left. He has a really strong finish. So, I'm in with the group I want to be in with. I just saw Matt up ahead there, ahead of Joe. Now this guy in the blue, like right there, I scrubbed speed. I was afraid of being put off into the grass. That was not good. And of course that guy came on the hill and just about came to a stop. That's not a good place to do that. And there I go on the grass again. But now it's now we're in gusto mode. We're going down the backside here through the twists and the turns. I'm really focused. I have too much space there. I should be much closer on Ron's wheel. And again, I think I'm doing okay from a power point of view. My heart rate is starting to get up, but we're at the end of the race. Right now is when it counts. So, I think I should have enough to be able to go. And unfortunately, I wasn't aggressive enough. Started getting a little nervous with everybody coming in and wanting to be where I wanted, but I still had a chance right here to get on Ron's wheel. And you can see Ron's strong. I mean, he had a really, really good finish. There's Joe just up ahead. I'm where I want to be. I wanted to be on this side of the course. Really happy with that. I positioned myself well. When you get right down to it, I could have finished a little bit stronger. As it turns out, I think I finished in 25th, 26th place, something like that. But a real good race. I was really happy with it. I want to give a kudos out to all my buddies that were in the race there. It was good to see them all again. And this is Chris the Old Man saying peace. Hope you enjoyed the video.